Did you spend countless hours last month writing grants to meet year-end deadlines? You probably shouldn't have. I'm Chad Barger, and that's what we're going to dig into in this week's Productive Fundraising Weekly Journey. Fundraising friends, I'm going to start with the key line of the video right here. Are you ready? Here it comes. The job of a fundraiser is to get the invitation to write a grant, not to actually write it. Let's do that again. Your job is to get the invitation to write the grant, but not to actually write it. Nobody ever said the fundraiser has to be the one that writes it. But you are the relationship builder, the relationship manager. You are out there. You want them to say, oh yeah, this is a wonderful program. We love it. Why don't you just put something into our grant portal? Or why don't you send us a letter of inquiry? You know, that makes it so much more successful if we've kind of planted that seed, started that relationship before the blind proposal comes. We know that. But then we think we have to scurry back to our office and sit down and hunker down and crank this grant out for 4 hours. No, not necessarily. We can. A lot of us do, but we don't have to do that. We can go right from that meeting to the next meeting where we meet with donors and build support and increase our retention and all those wonderful things we need to be doing other than writing grants. So what's my solution here? You know what it's going to be. Outsource, but outsource smartly. You know, every community has grant writers, folks that love this stuff. I personally hate writing grants. You know, I know how to do it. I can teach you how to do it. I have done it, but it's not what I want to spend my days doing. I want to be out building relationships or training great fundraisers like you. That's what I want to do. So I came to this early on because I'm like, I don't really want to do it. But even if you like writing grants, maybe it's not smart for you to be writing grants. Maybe your time is better spent with your donors. So reach out to your local community foundation, other charities, find folks that are outsourcing their grant writing, see who's good in your community, but stay local. I really like to stay local. I mean, state, national grants, you can go anywhere, but local, they know the local foundations. They know who the decision makers are. They know what they like, and they can really custom tailor your grants and get a higher success ratio. So look into that. You know, once you outsource that, you know, kind of lay out your calendar for the year, get that into autopilot, and then really you just need to check in with them, you know, every 2-3 weeks or so. What's going on? This is what's coming up this month. When can I expect to get it? So they're gonna tell you what they need, work their magic, send it back to you. You read through, polish a couple things, hit submit, or print it and throw it in an envelope. It's that simple. How do I like to manage that? I like to use a grant calendar. So I get everything on one spreadsheet. Says who the funder is, the deadline, what we got last year, what our ask is going to be this year, any reports that are required. I've talked about that before. It's a great tool just to see everything in one place, because in the fundraising database, it's hard because they're buried in reports and you can't get everything. So I like it all on one page. That's our free resource download for this week, is our grant calendar. So give that a download. It's a simple Excel spreadsheet and has all the columns you need of the things that are key to track about grants. That's it, everybody. Go meet with your donors. Don't write your grants, you know, especially October, November. That's when we just were writing a ton of grants. That is the time of year that we need to be meeting with donors to wrap up those year-end gifts and get us top of mind as we go through there. So give it some serious thought. Talk to your leadership and see if this is something that might be doable for your organization. That's it, everybody. I'll see you next week. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of the Productive Fundraising Weekly Journey. You can download the free resources mentioned in this episode at productivefundraising.com/fundraising-resources. That's productivefundraising.com/fundraising-resources. Head on over and give to this week's content a download and check out the other great resources we have there for you. Also, be sure to join the Productive Fundraising exclusive Facebook group, the Fundraising Fish Fry. We're proud to sponsor this group where fundraisers come together to talk about what's working and what isn't in fundraising, because there are so many fundraising fish to fry. Ha ha ha. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week. Happy fundraising.